Drop the gal.
He said he's leaving.
I got you started on that.
Dave, 6:30.
Good evening. Can start this meeting, let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dave's gonna go over some of the rules, what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, I've been nominated to talk.
Lucky you.
So, this is a public hearing, on two issues. First issue, the county council wants to make a change in the local income tax, in the allocation. They're not changing the amount of tax to be collected. They're not looking to change the amount of tax to be collected. They're looking at how it's to be distributed. They want to establish an emergency medical services fund. And they want to, which has not existed in the past, and that money will be used toward, paying ambulance, expenses, emergency medical expenses, and so forth. The plan is to transfer, economic development has been assessed at 1.2%. For the last few years. The plan is to change that to 1%. And then establish a 0.2% emergency medical services fund. So that's where the council is required to conduct. The council is required to advertise this in the paper, which it has done. The minutes should note that that has been legally advertised. And then the council is also required to have this public hearing to receive, comments from the public, before they make a decision about actually modifying the local income tax rates. That decision will be made, this is the public hearing. The council has also advertised a special session of the Martin County Council, and that will be conducted at the close of the public hearing tonight. And then the council will decide what to do based, take into consideration what you people, the public, have to say. So, the other aspect of the public hearing is, about the establishment of the wheel tax and the local, and the motor vehicle excise surtax, which is all about raising money for public roads, public highways here in Martin County. And we can explain that further. But I would recommend to start with the LIT, with the local income tax. Does anybody have any questions for the council about that? I know we've got a page out there listed for people who wanted to make comments tonight. But I believe the council will listen to anybody that has a comment to make. We just ask it to be orderly. If you have comments to make, we're gonna ask you to come up here to the podium because this is being recorded. So it can be heard and can be seen. This is being zoomed. Is that right, Michelle?
Yeah, and on YouTube, yeah.
It's on YouTube, so we want it to be orderly so everybody can hear it and hear what everybody has to say, so. So Warren, at this point, I'd recommend, that the council take comments with regard to the modification of the local income tax.
Does, does anybody have any questions or anything to say about that?
Okay, come over here, and please identify yourself and
Calvin Evans. The only question I had is, I appreciate that not adding to the code, just as a local tax, I appreciate that, but I just hope that you can run the numbers with the reduction in the property tax, that somewhere down 6 months, a year from now, you don't have to come back in and ask for additional funding.
The problem with that is the people that's writing all of those rules don't know
I know,
what those rules
I know.
are. So
But
we
you
can't,
gotta,
we can't figure out the answer to the question that's not been asked yet.
and the numbers I've seen with 12% reduction in your budget, can you all live with that? I mean, And it's right.
I mean,
Don't make it tough, Calvin, very tough.
some of us went to the state meeting and
No.
they declared that we was gonna be fine, but we don't.
Yeah. And I don't think so, but I just hope everybody's looking at it.
I got a question for you guys. I'm Dwayne Dollins from Shoals. If we could rearrange this tax to make due for the medical, then why can't we do the same thing when we come to the wheel tax? Why do we have to dip into our pockets for a wheel tax? If we can rearrange for this one, why not both of them?
So the wheel taxes,
I know it's separate.
it's all out of the highway. And the state has now said that if we want to collect their pennies that they're throwing to us, the only way we get it is if we implement this wheel tax. Otherwise, we don't get the funds.
But I'm old enough to remember when they started the lottery, it was for the roads. So who do we hold accountable for that?
We don't seem to hold them accountable, but that's them same people we was talking about. We keep voting them in and they keep forgetting that Martin County.
So we need adult leadership.
Well put.
Warren, if I may, part of your answer to your question. The local income tax rates do not include anything that goes toward highway department expenses here in Martin County. All those funds come through the gas tax, which is collected and dispersed by the state of Indiana. So the local income tax rates contribute nothing toward the operation of the highway department.
One caveat to that,
I'm sorry?
one caveat to that. Local bridge.
Right, okay,
That's property taxes, is local bridge.
okay. So for the most part, though, all that funding comes from the gas tax, which is collected by the state of Indiana and dispersed by the state of Indiana.
Yeah, that was a two-part question, but okay.
Anyone else?
Ron Heddle, Indian Springs, this 0.2% you're talking about. What's the total dollar amount on that? What's that come to?
It would generate $551,692 total.
So
for
we're
the
taking
ambulance.
out of one and giving $500,000 to the ambulance service, is that correct?
Yeah, taking it from edit category to EMS category.
Most of it is coming from the edit category of the county's funds, 411,000.
Yeah, 11,000.
The other 100,000, it comes from Lagodi, Shoals and Crane.
All right.
Lagode's what, about 90?
97.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I'd like to talk about wheel tax.
Okay. Not yet.
Okay, I'm
Are you wanting to quit tax, Sheriff, or?
I don't know.
Okay,
I was waiting for a little bit.
okay. So I think we're done with that. We ready to just go to questions on the wheel tax, or you wanna?
It's your pleasure, I'm just moderator.
Okay.
How you doing? I'm all right so far. All right. My name is Alan Hovis, from Shoal. I've been living in Shoal since 1969, so they still refer to me as that new guy. I appreciate you guys having the forum so that we can express this. I think if you had a referendum, you'd find widespread opposition to any additional taxes of any kind. Indiana's got 92 counties in it. We're in the top 14 for property taxes, for county taxes. I don't think that's all that enviable. We were a lot more tax efficient county at one point. We were much less. A lot of times I've talked to county politicians about this before, and a lot of people want to point to Crane and say, well, we don't get any property tax from Crane. That is true. You also don't spend any money maintaining roads or anything else, any infrastructure at Crane. So I think it's kind of a false argument, especially considering that you get timber money from Crane occasionally. So it's probably more of a plus than a negative. Lifelong Republican. The reason for that is I always thought the Republican Party stood for fiscal responsibility, stay out of my business as much as they could, transparent leadership, small government. And I just don't see it going that way. It seems like it's just there's a constant push for additional money. I know when in the 70s, I can show you now roads that are gravel, that if you scrape the gravel off, there's pavement down there. These roads were paved at one time. And they're not. And I don't know what the reason for this is. I'm retired from Crane, so I know a thing or two about funding the money furnace. You know, you shove it in there and it burns. And it's easy to be generous with other people's money. You go in the courthouse now, you can't walk through there without tripping over a deputy or an assistant deputy or assistant to the assistant. I don't know if the staff has grown so much in proportion, but this used to be a 10,000 person county. It's still a 10,000 person county. But we seem to have a lot more people on the payroll than we did at any other time. So just my general take on it. I'm opposed to new taxes of any sort. I think you guys all live within your means. I live within my means, and I don't go shaking the can for additional money. So that's all I've got.
I will say for Alan, he's a legitimate, outstanding citizen in the county, and they're got paid well. Yeah, no, I mean, he had a legitimate concern. I understand that.
My name's Charles Guy, I'm a local taxpayer, and I understand that this wheel tax thing is just kind of jammed down your throat, all our throats. Don't have much choice.
Excuse me, sir, could you speak up so we can hear you?
Okay, my name's Charles Guy, and I'm talking about the wheel tax thing. I don't think any of us have much say so. We're gonna get wheel tax, and they've held off all these years of not having it. I'm not for it, but we're gonna get it anyway. But my complaint is how it's gonna be, or question is how it's gonna be implemented. Mopeds, motorcycles, four-wheelers, UTVs can be charged the same as cars and trucks. And we're talking about money from the roads. Why don't we have a road bond in this county for log trucks and feed trucks and people that are really destroying the roads and they just come and go, no problem.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a road bond for people destroying the roads? And that's just my question. Are motorcycles, four-wheelers and things that's not tearing up the roads gonna be charged the same as cars, trucks? And why aren't big trucks, the ones doing the damage, have some accountability or maybe get enough money to fix up some roads? All truck running up down there destroying it, no problem, just like, hey, why is that?
Well, four-wheelers, ATVs are not in the list. I don't know about mopeds.
Motorcycles?
Motorcycles are, I think,
Yeah,
Anything that's plated, Kevin,
Lopez.
Pardon
anything that has a plate,
license.
Registered.
registered plate,
me? Okay, well,
if that clarifies.
okay.
And the bonding of the roads, that's a commissioner's question.
Well, it needs to
Yeah,
be, it needs to
and
be.
I will say for, not because I know Mr. Guy or nothing, that I do not consciously agree with the semi truck going down the road and then his two-wheel motorcycle that's not doing the same thing. Tear up the road, so I wish would be 20 and 40 on the semi truck, but I don't have that decision.
Do you have a choice in that matter? The motorcycles or things that's doing really no damage to the road? Does that have to be the same as a car or truck? And
I think the state sets those rates on each axle, don't they, or rates on the wheels, number of wheels?
Vehicles, motorcycles, trucks greater than 11,000, mopeds, trailers greater than 9. Collectors vehicles
But you have to set a rate so that you can reach what you propose,
for each one.
what you want to reach.
well, I may not be gaining much traction here, but please consider the road bond thing. Killiam Hill got rocked and chipped. That's about the best we could do in this county. A few years ago, it wasn't a couple months later, log trucks just virtually destroyed it. No accountability whatsoever. If we had a road bond or something, I don't know how you implement that thing, but if
It
the,
was junk, Mr. Guy.
pardon?
Mr. Guy, it was junk, it was done, it was nice for 3 or 4 months and then it was junk.
Yeah, then it's just virtually destroyed. And other counties have road bonds for log trucks and things that destroy the road. Why can't Martin County have that? We're talking about raising money to fix the road, so please kick that idea around and see what you come up with, as motorcycles and four-wheelers, things like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
like a toll road tax.
Pardon?
Sounds like a toll road tax.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think most of you know, we have Josh Green, the chair. But I think maybe a couple of these guys aren't getting their wording right. I just wanted to help them out.
Excuse me, Josh, can I speak up?
All right. But
Probably put most of your voice that way so they,
Mr. Guy was asking about different prices. And who sets the price? And does it have to be the same? Is there a window? Like, does it start at $5 and caps at 80? I think that's what he was trying to ask. And if so, are you guys willing to make a difference between the motorcycle and the pickup trucks?
the vehicles I listed caps at 40. The commercial caps at 80. I don't know what the starting number.
I think what Mr. Guy was trying to ask is, can it be lowered?
For the smaller vehicles?
Yeah. And
The category,
yeah, and I didn't study it, so I don't think it's.
Yeah.
so there's a category for mopeds, there's a category for motorcycles. And we just went straight down the numbers, figuring. I never thought about the angle that Mr. Guy said, you know, they're not tearing up the roads. He has a valid point. And I understand that point.
And I personally fully acknowledge that your guys' hands are tied and that this tax has to come if we want to receive that money from the state moving forward. So the rates that we see on the paper that was handed out, that those be the rates you vote on tonight. And
We can go down, we can't go up. Right?
Actually, you can go up on part of it.
Anyhow, we're not wanting to go up for sure. So the only direction we'd be looking is down.
I fortunately have the opportunity to be involved in county budgets and stuff. So one question I have is the wheel tax, does that go to the general fund or where does that money pull into?
Highway fund, right?
The highway unrestricted is.
So that could pay anything highway?
Mhm.
So does the county highway have any money that comes out of the general fund?
No, I don't think anything, Teresa, right?
Bridge fund comes out.
Well, out off of the property tax. Yeah.
Teresa, nothing out of general, right?
Nothing out of general.
That's, I think where Mr. Dollins was going earlier is
Yeah.
we route Peter to pay Paul, so I'll just try to clarify that for him.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Dave,
With regard to Josh, the statute says that on the excise tax, that the county can impose excise tax at a specific amount, at least $7.50 and not more than $50 on each vehicle. The instructions I was given just for purposes of consideration was $40 for an excise tax on each category. That could be, there is no requirement that be the same amount on each category. So if the council so chooses, they could say X dollars on car registrations and Y dollars on motorcycles. So that's up to the council. The wheel tax, the statute says that annual wheel tax should be at a rate of not less than $5 per vehicle or more than $40 per vehicle. So the council has the ability to go between those amounts as well. So again, what we did on this for informational purposes was use 40 and 80. So that's where these things, but this is not locked in. The council will, if the council decides to adopt the wheel tax and the excise tax, they will figure out what rates to charge. So it would.
We get gas from there. We get gas from there.
No.
I'm sorry?
We just get from there, whatever they put on there.
Well, the council will make that decision. If they decide to impose it, then they'll decide what rates they're on. So we thought that we needed to give numbers for people so you could see what would be collected. So people would have an idea what could be collected at these rates. So as Warren said, probably won't go any higher, but it could go less if subject to the will of the council. So that's where these numbers came from.
yes,
Yeah. You've got a proposed target that you'd wanna hit with the wheel tax. And,
preliminary.
yeah, and I'm assuming you have a purpose for that. It's for the crossroads,
Yes.
and so in doing that, is there any assurance to the public here that all that will go to match of that? Or will it end up buying equipment or paying salaries or, is there any assurance of how that's gonna be laid out? And the other thing being is the highway superintendent, you have a road plan for that for the next 5-10 years or there's where that crossroads can go or I just hate seeing money put out there without it going in the right direction and for the right things, you know.
So the crossroads grant you're talking about, the community crossings. is now the state of Indiana has $250 million they divvy out to the 92 counties.
Yeah.
We're being told that 2028, that's gonna be down to $125,000, $125 million. And we're gonna be contending with everybody in the state for that money.
And they'll get worse.
And they're gonna keep depleting
Gas
it
tax is
down.
not going to cover it,
For
so,
the next
but,
year to 2 years, this'll help, but we're trying to help replace that money.
but we'll be paying that wheel tax, and the question comes to my mind is, 5 years from now, where's that money going to?
We're hoping it goes to the roads.
The pavement or the?
Payment's expensive.
Gravel?
I'd like to see,
or?
Well, I'm not in charge of that. Eric.
I just feel that there needs to be some kind of plan at least for 8 years. You know,
Be going to hot
the
air.
commissioner comes in, he's there.
Ladies and gentlemen, one person at a time, because this is being recorded and listened to, okay? I'm sorry.
But I'd just like to know, what the plan is. And, it can change over 8 year period. That's commissioner served 2 terms, and things can change, but I'd like to hope and like to see some kind of plan for that expenditure, even for the next 2 years with the crossroad.
It explains that it goes directly to the county, the highway department.
What does that mean?
For road improvements.
If you give me another 150,000, I can hire 2 more people, or,
So the community crossings, correct me if I'm wrong on numbers
as
here,
for pavement.
we've been getting roughly 1.2 million that we've been,
About
and so we've been doing about 10 miles of pavement a year, so the goal.
And I'd like to see that continue.
That, we would like to see that continue as well, so the
And
goal.
that's why I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So the goal is,
And
with that going back to the highway, we would be able to then allocate that to continue to contribute that same amount of money towards road development.
So you gotta realize, we allocate the money, we don't tell them where to spend it. We can't control Scott and the highway department, he don't work for us.
everybody gotta work together.
I understand that, that's what we're trying to do, we're trying to keep them in funding so they can keep the roads at least maintained to the standard they are today.
As far as the hiring goes, they're getting about as old as I am too, so, you're
And
gonna
I-
get you guys retired and you have to hire more.
And I understand that, and I understand that you all should be lobbying the legislature and saying, we need additional outside funding for road transportation. Cause gas tax ain't gonna do it. So,
What's really scary is they're chip and sealing national
Yeah.
highways.
and that's the reason they're doing it, the same reason you're in your situation, they're running down money too.
In response to Calvin, the statute says that this money can only be used to construct, reconstruct, repair, or maintain streets and roads under the jurisdiction of Barton County or cities and towns that receive the money. It can also be used to obtain a grant from the local road and bridge matching grant fund. So those are the only things these funds can be utilized for, and that is, that will be up to the county auditor to supervise that and to make sure that that's how those funds would be distributed if they're collected. But that's statutory.
Paul?
Yeah, my name is Paul McPeters, resident of Lagodi. And I have a question. As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but we forfeit community crossings grant money if we do not enact a wheel tax. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. What is that amount that we will forfeit if we don't have the wheel tax?
Be the direct distribution amount, that we would forfeit.
500, right?
Yeah. That was on here. Yeah, it was around 500,000, but I don't have that in front of me.
The exact number, yeah.
So we roughly get $500,000 from the one piece of the pie, and the other piece of the pie, if we don't enact it, we don't get the rest of our million, we.
Right, so the question I have is about leverage. What do we need to raise locally in order to get the maximum amount from the state? Or what's the minimum amount?
Go by mile, don't think. Mile of road.
Yeah, that's how we get the direct distribution.
Down by miles
Miles.
in the county,
Right.
highway miles in the county.
Right, so what the question I'm asking is, they're requiring us to tax ourselves in order to qualify for state funding. There's, and what you're telling me are $500,000 thereabouts of funding coming from the state that we won't get if we don't tax ourselves. So what do we need to tax ourselves, you know, the bare minimum in order to qualify for that money?
This is pretty close, Paul. This would generate, so it breaks down City of Lagodi, Crane, Town of Crane, Town of Shoals, all receive this, which they get community crossings grant money also. But this will get us at 40 and 80, it gets us a hair over $500,000. Based on the 2023 information from the state on the highway. Now, if we've increased a lot of vehicles in Martin County, it'll go up a little bit, or we decrease, it'll go down. But the data that we have, we're using is 2023.
The other thing I wanna say is I was a county commissioner here 20-some years ago, very familiar with what I call perception of road quality in this county. And I've worked directly with county commissioners in Oklahoma, Texas, South Dakota, highway superintendents, part of a job that I had. And the problem is the same everywhere. Everywhere you go, it's the perception of what your roads are like based on the public. And so a lot of the job of you, county commissioner, county highway superintendent, is to manage expectations. And what my fear is that we will tax ourselves. We will continue to qualify for the county, community crossings grant, but will the average person in this county feel or see the benefit of that tax? Will that perception increase? If I polled the people of the county, the people who travel the roads on a regular basis, will I get a sense that yes, our roads are better? Will that happen? Frankly, I'm not sure. And because that perception is always low, always, no matter where I've been across this country. And I think there's ways to address that. And it's been brought up here. There's been some really good comments here. One is long-range planning. We need to have a highway maintenance improvement plan that survives changes in commissioners and the county council. I don't know how you do that, because I know as Mr. Hovis brought up, hey, if you go and scrape the gravel off some of these roads, you find asphalt, or you find chip and seal or whatever. And so that used to really bother me as a commissioner, because I thought, you know, we invested in that road. Why was that investment important then? Why was it worth it then, but not now? So that's what I think the council, the commissioners, the highway superintendent, working together, learn how to manage those expectations by having a plan that survives political changes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to keep talking, but I've been assigned to study this about as much as anybody. Paul, in response, right now, there's a 75-25 contribution. The Martin County must contribute 25% to get any kind of grant on community crossings. I lost track of where I was. And Martin County has been receiving, Teresa, about $1.5 million last few years on that, so it's working out that Martin County has to come up with about $500,000 to receive the community crossings, be eligible for the community crossings money. So that's kind of where the figures are that the council's coming up with, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bobby?
I just wanna say, for Todd's here, having a commissioner, I mean, nobody wants better roads more than me. I mean, I hear it all day long. every day, all day. It's just, everybody's doing the best they can. But, you know, to hear, you know, we have individuals in our party, I mean, two of them right here. I mean, they just don't, you know, and until that happens, that nothing gonna progress, so. It's, it's just, until we go forward, we're not gonna be able to, you know, anywhere.
Bobby? Thank you.
Hi, council. Bobby Abel. I live in Shoals. I just have a question to ask if you guys have considered it, and if you haven't considered it, if you would consider. Providing a discount or an exemption for those in the county that are on fixed incomes. I work with several in the county that are on very limited incomes, and this affects them tremendously, so. I know some counties do provide for that, some don't, and I'm just asking if you've considered it, or if you will consider that exemption or deduction for those on limited.
So
I don't know how it would work, but maybe there's a way.
they never broke that information down to us, Bobby. We got passenger vehicles and stuff, but they never broke down the disability plates to us on the information they gave us. That'd be the only angle I could see where it'd be possible.
Okay. I'm just asking if you guys had looked
There's
into it or
a
considered
large
it.
bridge there, it wouldn't be just disability plates, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking for the very limited income, if there's, you know, a threshold or a dollar amount that can be set for them. And I do know some counties do and some don't. It's up to the
Be
representative.
curious to hear from the other counties, because they never broke.
And honestly, I haven't dug into it terribly deep. I've just
Yeah.
wondered if you would consider it. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about veterans? Getting an exemption?
They never broke it down, sir. We don't know how many. And we were given passenger vehicles, motorcycles, trucks, just general categories. And it was all from, like I said, 2023. We had to in fact go back and ask them about the ATVs and school buses, privately owned school buses versus, public municipality owned school buses. We had to go back and try to drag that information out of them. So it's tough to get the state to answer anything from us. Any questions?
With the addition, Warren, of this, the wheel tax, that previous 500,000 that you had to commit from the highway to that would revert back to the highway. You use the wheel tax to match.
Remember that 12% you talked about
Yeah.
earlier?
Well, that's
That's kind of what we're trying to.
That has nothing to do with the 12%.
It kind of does, cause
Well,
we're in a pickle.
Not really.
And that's kind of,
What I'm saying though is that 500 could revert back to the future increases that you're gonna see in the highway.
correct.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's just basically one big checking book.
you're just 2 years away from the next one.
They'll fix it all then.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
There you go.
Hi, my name is Sean Scott. I'm from English, Indiana, so guess I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm on the county council in Crawford County, and we're looking at the same thing also. I follow with a lot of these guys too in Indianapolis, and a lot of the information, as I said, it's very undecided of actually what's going to happen. But a couple of things that I picked up and I just wanted to share. You can help me out also on this, because we wrote a lot of these, is that on the excise tax and wheel tax, two totally different taxes. The trucks, as you talked about, the ones, the highway trucks, the big trucks, they're taxed, that's the wheel tax. And the excise tax is the passenger tax. And those go, one goes restricted, one goes unrestricted, is that correct? Is that Is that right, Heather?
I'm not sure about that.
But I believe that those taxes, any of you remember that?
I don't remember
So that, like he said, there's specific things that they can only spend it on. Now, one thing that I learned was I challenge every one of you to pick out your registration. I have 5 vehicles in my driveway registered 2025 right now. Now, 4 of speeders, but I got 1 discard. But I just looked at my registration. And on there, you're gonna see in the middle, right now, county tax, and it's gonna be blank. That's where this wheel tax, excise tax is going to get changed in later. But if you look right beside it, there's a tax that says state tax. And that's the community crossings, but. So I was paying $47 a year on my 2009 Can-Am Spider. You know where that money was going? Perry County, Martin County, Monroe County, community crossings. Okay, this next one that's coming out is gonna say county tax is only gonna come right here to your county. So it's kind of like the Salvation Army and Red Cross, one of them always comes back right to your county. So that's one of the things that I've learned on this is that at least the money you're getting is coming back to that highway department. It's not gonna go to Marion County. It's not gonna go to DuBois County, things like that. So that part I like about that. The one thing that's frustrating, and I don't know where Indianapolis comes up with their numbers, but as they talk here, a minimum of $7.50 for a passenger vehicle. But the minimum for an 11,000 pound or greater truck is $5. So a truck is gonna tear up more road, is less than a passenger car. Don't understand that, but that's people above us. The Crossroads grant, like they said, if you come down to it, there's gonna be a very small pot. And I think it's gonna get down to about 50 million. $50 million between 92 counties, and then you got Shoals, Crane, with all those people competing on $50 million. Barber. That ain't gonna, who's gonna get that money? It ain't gonna be Martin County, it ain't gonna be Crawford County. Okay, so if you don't do the wheel tax, excise tax, then you're not gonna be eligible for the road lane model, which is your big money, right? So, and that's something that's not talked about a lot because it is a very confusing thing. But that's just one of the things I wanna share. Our county's looking at the same problem. I consider you guys my stepbrothers. Crawford County, we're both 10,000 people poor. And I got just as many gravel roads as you got. I drove a motorcycle here, and yeah, I'm gonna have to pay the same as anybody that drove a real nice vehicle here. But I appreciate when I ride my motorcycle through Martin County, there's a lot of blacktop road. So, that's what it's for. It doesn't matter what road you're on, but that's why motorcycles and everything's intercluded. But I just want to share that. I think the biggest thing here is the fact that people need to realize is that this wheel tax, excise tax is gonna come back to your council, your highway department, and not be shared with the other states or other county thing. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Ask a question, but let me go up there to the. At the lecture, not a problem. So, and the Dennis Dillon Ironton Road, small town, just railway. So if I got this right, you want me to pay more taxes so that we can get our share of the taxes that we already paid? That's all I got. And I'm not there.
Again, it's some of our friends higher up. You need to get that message too. We're with you on this. Is that all?
In a sense, we're trying to keep you from having to pay as much more taxes as you would have to.
You down with none more.
Well, me too, but me too.
Are we placating the state or are we looking out for Martin County?
We're looking out for Martin County. And so if we look out for Martin County, we gotta replace what we're getting from state. And if we keep the level of roads we have now. And if we replace that money and we don't do it with the wheel tax, the excise tax, then you know where it's gonna come from.
It will get more and more competitive.
And it'll cost you a lot more money that way than it will this way.
Competition, we can.
Mayor,
I'm one of the last people who want to pay more taxes, I just tell you. I was figuring a rate of $25, and I come here to $40, so it takes mine from 650 to 1,040. But I also see the need for it. Because of what SB 1 and our glorious politicians and governor has passed, it's gonna kill the community. Washington alone, when this kicks in, is gonna lose over $1 million a year. Fortunately, I think for Lagodi, we're looking, if you wanna say fortunately, $60,000 to $100,000 shortfall. Where are you gonna make that money up? We all want the goods and services. And sir, the gentleman just spoke exactly what you said is what's happening. The government is making us pay more taxes so we can get our tax dollars back.
Right, and they don't guarantee it.
Now, for community crossings, I will say this, is that it was a 75-25 match, but for communities and stuff like that under 10,000, they're dropping that down to 20%, so that does pick us up a little bit. But the bottom line is what the policies and procedures of our current administration up there is really killing the small communities as well as the large communities, and they just said that and I've read in different things and stuff like that, they're gonna make the cities and towns the bad guys because they don't want the pressure on themselves. And that's what's happening with us as local officials. You know, you want good roads. It's like when you go to your house, you know, you want that water coming out, you want it coming in, you want what bring in going out. And it costs a lot of money. And, you know, we're hurt by Crane because of all the profit is non-taxable, plus our Hoosier National Forest. It hurts us in a small area, but I don't know if I'd like to see a $40 rate. But, you know, if you're gonna do it, it's best to do it and put it at a rate that was where it's at, because if you do it, it's not enough, you try to go back, you're gonna catch even more. And they are encouraging, like on the community crossings, if you're under X amount of population in a city or town, you don't have to do the wheel tax, although they are recommending it. So, because it's gonna come down the pipeline at some point. So. Bearer of bad news. I feel for you. All on the board there.
anyone else?
Yeah, Warren over.
Hey, Scott.
I am the highway superintendent over here in Martin County, Scott Seals. A question was asked about, can we guarantee that the roads will be kept up, or we will keep on with the blacktop? If you guys don't do this, I can guarantee you, it'll go downhill. And then nobody likes it to go to gravel. That's what will happen. We have roads that we do plan on doing at some point in time. And at some point, we have to preserve what we got, or it'll go back to gravel as well. Every piece of blacktop you put down, I'll put it like your car. You're gonna have to maintain it. You're gonna have to change your oil. You're gonna have to put tires on it. That's what a road is. At some point, you're gonna rejuve the road. You're gonna fill the cracks in. Do what you can to maintain it. But at the end of the day, if you don't do it, and as far as the distribution money, I know it's not how much, but I'm almost certain that is guaranteed money coming to the county. So that we will not get if we don't have wheel tax. Or Ford County, I get that, but. I have trailers, I have motorcycles, I have cars, I'm gonna pay it. So. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not.
I don't think anybody here wants to put a wheel tax in. But I think the state has got our hands tied, but we're either gonna have to do it, or our roads are gonna go down, because we're not gonna have the money to repair what we've got.
You keep saying wheel tax, does this not have to be attached to that surtax, the excise tax?
I'm sorry,
You have to put an excise tax in and a wheel tax?
Correct. If you implement one, you have to
Yeah.
implement.
but you all put an excise tax and a wheel tax on one vehicle. It will be one or the other.
One is commercial vehicles, the other is private vehicles.
So like you're.
Not
Yeah.
double taxed on the same vehicle.
I'm Teresa Ray, I'm the administrative assistant over there at the highway. I will say, you guys were asking about the veterans, their discounts. I did work at the BMV, so I've seen all this. You can go to the courthouse and apply for a DAV credit. So I encourage all veterans, that'll be a little bit more for the courthouse to do, but you can get that. Yeah, if you don't use it on your property, you can get, we give you a voucher to take to the BMV.
Only thing one dark.
Okay, my name is Barb McPeters, and I do have a question. If this is passed and the money comes in, do we know yet if it's under restricted or unrestricted?
They said it would be unrestricted.
We thought it was all unrestricted. Councilman from Crawford County thought maybe the one portion, you thought the one portion was restricted?
I believe that one or the other, one, I think it's the wheel tax, because that being kind of commercial part goes into the restricted, which is, like I said, just the roads and stuff. Only to that, because again, it seems like no one really knows, but that was from LTAP. What I understood was that, wheels, the money goes either way. But it definitely has to go to highway department, so it can't go to provide t-shirts or.
Okay,
So that's about 80,000 that might be restricted.
okay, so my next question is like, where does the crane timber money go? Which one?
That's unrestricted.
Yeah, that's unrestricted.
And so my concern is, if we just throw it all in this pot, are we gonna lose the wheel tax money? Are we gonna think, oh, we have so much in here, we need this vehicle, we need a new grader, we need that, and I know there are situations, and I understand, Scott, you need some of those things upgraded. But I don't think the wheel tax money is meant for that, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
And so how are you gonna keep track of that money?
Why we have her.
Yeah, and LTAP did say that we could create another fund. That was kind of flexible, right? Do you remember them?
Cause I remember at a time when I was on the council, I always wished that we had it separate from fund for the crane timber money. And I thought, okay, we'll use the community crossings grant money for these roads that they approve. We can't just put on whatever we think. They have to prove it. And then we could use that timber money on some of those roads that they hadn't approved. But I was told we can't do that. But I think it's very, very important. We don't want to lose track of this money. We want to be sure it goes to the roads, not to insurance, not to pay raises. Those other funds can help cover that. So that's my only concern.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Is there anybody else?
One quick, on the code and wheel tax both. if you're gonna have to do it where it'll cover it. Don't do it and then 5 years from now, we're coming back. I think the last meeting was at the high school that we had, where we had to increase the fund, so. And that wasn't far enough in the past that I forgot it, so, nobody wants to see the tax rate. Do it where it's gonna go for a period of time enough that you can live with yourself with it. Not have to worry.
That's what these numbers was to try to keep us even with where we've been at. It's not an increase, it's trying to keep us even. Was there somebody else?
Yeah, at risk of sound like a broken record, when I ask about the road bond thing, all drugs and people who still run roads. Please consider that. I'll be back to ask that again. Ask it once or twice at the commissioner meeting.
That's
Please consider that, and because I don't think I get an argument on anybody in this room if you all drugs on tearing up our roads and no accountability. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Adam?
Adam Kraus, Gold, we're up behind USG. I'm with Ader, Pioneer Ader. We go with these rates, I'm over $1,000 a year, just right off the bat with business vehicles and everything else. You know, I'm not gonna charge customers more. I mean, that's just doing what you guys are doing, passing the buck to us. But I had a question for Superintendent Seals. How much does it cost to chip and seal a road?
Probably. Look at. 60-some thousand probably, depends on what all that be done to.
For how long? For how much? Per mile?
A mile,
Yeah. How much?
possibly between 30 and 60, depending on what has to be done.
Yeah. What's the difference between that and blacktop? How much is it to blacktop?
Roughly, it'll be over 100,000.
Yeah, per a mile.
Yeah.
Okay. What roads are getting chip and sealed and blacktop now?
Our chip and seal has not started yet, and the ones that are being hot mix are, Gilham, Emmons Ridge, Ramadai, Hickory Ridge, and Graded Road.
How much is it to hot mix a road? Mile?
That's what they're at.
How much a mile?
I told you that if it's contracted out, it's over $1 million or over 100,000 a month.
Okay. So that's blacktop, yeah. Where's the money coming from now?
Well, that's
Community crossings.
that's
Community crossings.
Yeah.
So the wheel tax would hopefully alleviate some of that
That we're losing, correct?
that we're losing from that, right? Okay,
Our potential shortfall.
right. So we get a 3-to-1 ratio basically on every dollar. Right, 75, 25. So every dollar we put in, we get $3 back.
under the old rules.
So not this rule? Or it's 50-50?
We'll drop.
It'll still be 20 or 25, max 75%.
Now, Adam, remember the community crossings, there's no guarantees.
Okay, well, with the wheel tax,
The wheel tax, we're assured that much.
we're sure
For the
$500,000.
$3 on the dollar?
No, whatever the excise or wheel tax generates, less what the state's gonna charge us, like 1 or 2% for processing. We'll get all that money back.
So I think what I understand what you're asking is the community crossings grant is not a guaranteed, so like what we're putting in, we're eligible for them to consider us for that money.
Yeah.
We're not guaranteed the money. What we're guaranteed is at the rates we're proposing, we're guaranteed the 500 that we're gonna generate from here. We're guaranteed the 500,000 from the lane distribution. That's all that we're guaranteed,
Okay, so we're only guaranteed the money that we put in.
essentially, plus the 500,000 from the distribution, the lane
Yeah.
miles. Which is based off of how many miles of road we have.
So that's
Right.
50%, or that was one to
Yeah.
one.
That's 1 to 1, so they'll give us $1 for every dollar.
Yeah. And then the other is competitive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is what we,
We've been getting it, but we don't know because they're reducing the pie.
Yeah. Well, and you already mentioned that there were, basically, we're pulling from one big checkbook, there's no. We can pull from different places in order to get the money that we need, right?
Some of it, I mean, each department. They have their rules, I mean,
Yeah.
if you go pay somebody to do the wrong job out of the wrong thing, the state slaps it.
Right, but we could. Say in place of the wheel tax, we could pull that 500,000 from somewhere else.
No, there's no place to make it up.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, if it was available, we could pull it, right? Hypothetically, if it was available, we could pull it in order to get an additional 500,000.
but then we would not be eligible for the lane distribution law, so that 500,000 we're no longer eligible for. Because we don't have a wheel tax or excise tax implemented.
So what's the lane distribution do then?
Say that again?
What's the lane distribution do for us then?
That it's all coming back into this pot that we're talking about for the highway department. So all the money that we're talking about raising these grants and lane distribution, everything that you're hearing us talking about money coming back is going to the highway department, the highway department only.
Okay, so if we had another way of raising money instead of a wheel tax, we could put it in place of a wheel tax and still get the money.
No.
No,
No, only if.
have to have the wheel tax to get.
The 500,000.
Okay.
That's where we're, the
Yeah.
problem is.
If you want the state to give you $1 for your dollar, you've got to
To
have
put
the
it in,
tax.
yeah.
You have to do the wheel
That's-
tax.
That's why I said they're forcing us to do it. I mean, that's,
The only other option that some counties have done is they went in and imposed bonds, but they had to impose a wheel tax payback bond. And so, you know, with road funding, you're very limited on where you're gonna pull the money. It has to be something to do with the vehicle.
the general fund don't fund the highway department.
Right, okay,
So it's gotta be highway funds to get there, and this is the way you have to get it.
okay. And that's what I was a little confused on, is how the requirements behind getting it.
Uh,
Cause it seems like there's ways of the county making money. Without raising taxes, and that goes back to, you know, what you mentioned about where the 13th, 14th highest state, county in the state for. You know, individual taxes, income tax. I mean, has the council done anything to increase business in the state? Have they gone to, you know, local legislatures and see if we can't work something out, or local businesses or extended businesses to bring people in?
Well, that's what I was trying to explain the other day. We were put in a nice business. They build a $20 million building. It just lowers everybody else's taxes. It doesn't give the county a bunch more money except for what we've got in the TIF district. The TIF district up at Crane, we get a bigger chunk of that pie instead of the state's the one that comes out winning with most of their rules.
But looking at the county as a business should be generating their own money instead of going into the pockets of their constituents. So you know what I mean, are the council working to create business? Or are we just leaning on the constituents to put the bill?
Well, some of us are working to keep businesses coming and keep growing, because the only increase we see off of that is their local option income tax, the Martin County tax that you pay on your weekly check. is where we do see an increase. The price of the buildings in the county kind of stay at a certain level until the state changes their rules, and I think that's changing 2 years from now.
And they'll have to, because, that's your only survival for small.
But
But the
Again-
county is a corporation,
again,
Exactly.
we're playing by a book that's not written, and it's
right?
very
But,
difficult.
but a county can generate their own funds. If they would reach out and bring businesses in, bring people in, bring work in, you would generate your own funds. What's
Again,
the council doing to do that?
only off of the employees that live in the county.
Well, then how do we bring employees in? Is the question.
Housing.
How do we get housing here?
Well, we've been working on that for,
But with the 14th highest income tax in the state, that's not gonna bring employees in.
I mean, the
People are gonna go
Godey,
to Davis County, or they're
the
gonna go to
Godey's
Davis County.
got. Mayor, how many new houses? Apartments you supposed to be getting if they all fill up and build?
We've got 50 apartments, we have 41 lots that are up for sale, so that's 91, and we've got several others that are doing some things as well, so we're about 125 to 135, somewhere, give or take a few either way,
New units.
new units coming in. That doesn't count the two new duplexes there, one across from Dave there and the other one down the street. You know, it's all new. There's a couple other places getting ready to put, behind Biggins, there's gonna be three duplexes up there, so.
And Lagode's doing that, right?
Well,
Lagode's.
people are, yeah, there's people that are around the area that are investing in money to do that.
Yeah.
And putting it in, yeah.
But those, just the building, those revenues off of Lagodi also go to the county.
Yeah, is Shoals doing anything? Is anybody else doing anything to bring in business? It sounds like Lagode's doing a good job. But it sounds like they're kind of doing it on their own.
We
Well,
have
we-
what's called Morgan County Alliance that works with us to do all the things you're talking about there too.
We worked a bunch with the mayor and trying to make sure, and we was guaranteeing funds to help make sure that it got through. It got through without county funds, but we was doing everything we could to make sure that the thing went through. But you don't really want Martin County buying property and going into the rental business.
No, but you should be enticing people to come in.
And so
So to answer your question, Adam, in all honesty, it's a redevelopment board question. And there's things being done, there's data that's being collected, we're working on a lot of these places that potential businesses that wanna come to Martin County. There's not much data out there that, where we try to sell our county. Tourism, various things, so you'll see. I have the rough draft emailed to me yesterday of a comprehensive plan that talks about various things going on within the county, Lagode's House in addition, Shoals, Crane. We're trying, but it's a hard uphill road. To give you an example, some of the data that we had given to us was, I think it was 10 to 12% of Crane employees drive to, are in Martin County, the rest of them drive from other counties. And that falls back to the questionnaires that you ask, and many of them will say there's nothing in Martin County. There's no shopping, there's no restaurants, and you know, the buildings look dated. So last year we did the facade grant. I don't know if you've seen it or not, we gave 10 $4,000 grants. About any business that
they had to match.
applied, they had to match. You'll see some of it going on downtown. We distributed, I feel equally pretty much between Shoals and Lagodi both. Some were just new windows, some were just updated their awnings. So there's things being done, but, and I don't like to say we're a poor county or in a privileged county. It's just hard to generate the money with some of the businesses to do it because we can't give them the money. Because we're restricted on various things, but we can do things like grants where they match the money. Like the addition that you done out there at your business.
Yeah.
We could have went to $4,000. We're trying, but it's just, it seems like we're not doing nothing because all we can do is take baby steps. We're trying to get more and more people to move to the county. The mayor is doing a great job. The 50 apartment building complex, we're hoping that brings in some of the younger people at Crane. Because that's where we're lacking, is to get that 22 to 25 to 35 year age people. There's no single family homes for sale in town. The 41 lots, I believe 2 are completely sold and 11 more under contract. And those 11 under contract and many more people are just waiting to see a road where they can physically stand in the middle of the lot to see their home. Say, this is where our front door is gonna be. And we just, you know, and then that all comes back and I think Brian will go along with this, it's the infrastructure. The past leaders of the community, we didn't have any infrastructure in place, and that's hurt us extremely bad. And now it's so costly that it's just hard to do with the money they have generated.
We're playing catch up.
Exactly. It's a game of catch up that current administrations is trying to do, that past administrations just, we don't want the factories from Jasper. We don't want this. Yeah, we do, because we're stagnant. We're stagnant water and we're trying to get it moving again.
So what are we doing to correct that?
Well, Adam, the first thing about that is getting more rooftops, more homes.
Yeah.
Because, and that's what we, you know, we're fortunate, we've got a lot going on in Lagodi right now. But when you start getting more people, then that opens up the doors for businesses to come and people wanna come in. And it goes back to what Monty said. We don't have anything to offer here per se, as far as a nice restaurant, you know, we got 4 Mexican restaurants. 4 gas stations, you know, there's not a lot to drive, but we're working on that and getting it back and. You know, as Gerald said, you know, the Martin County Alliance has been a very, very, very intricate part of this with Jessica Potts and the board and everything. And, you know, right now, I can't remember what the numbers are, but what are we? They're saying by 2030, we're still, how many thousands of homes?
Oh, it was like 30,000 homes, we're behind. It was mind boggling. We're like, there's no way we can even get that infrastructure in place. I mean, with everything that's going on, and I want to take a moment, Jessica Potts. This county don't know what we got. I mean, she does everything she can to draw people here. She sells our county every day to people.
Very blessed to have her.
And yeah, and, you know, we try and give her everything we can on the redevelopment commission, but our hands get tied because we just don't have the funding. You know, we've done all the ground, I believe is now, that was TIF'd, is got buildings on them up at Crane, except for maybe 1 or 2.
They started it.
Yeah, they started it. There's some ground left up there for sale, but you know, it's one of those, it's not for sale, that's.
Retention pond, I think.
They're waiting on the person to die. I don't like to say that, but you know, it's a situation, but. We just don't have a lot of ground at Crane, to gain the tax dollars for the businesses. We went as far on the redevelopment commission, was we put Burn City in a TIF district, just for the simple fact and speculation that it's the only place rail goes in and out of Crane. Hopefully somebody will do something, make an intermodal change there. I don't know.
We don't know any secrets about it, we just.
Yeah, we're trying to
to
get
think ahead.
any angle we can.
Yeah.
To make the county succeed, but it's just tough.
Well, in that case, then, wouldn't it make sense to cut what needs cut, and not spend money where you don't need to spend money?
Well,
Maintain the road or something.
Well,
You know,
maintain the road.
it's like with Scott, I think he's got what, 7 guys, he's got slots for 10.
Yeah,
You know, you can't find help, you know that, you battle that, I'm sure, especially your specialty business.
but I know that if you don't have the money, you don't spend it.
We're trying to correct that.
We got a bank over there that, how much was spent on a bank?
384,
And that could have
and the
been
prosecutors moving into it.
How much was rent for a $385,000 building?
It's probably not gonna go for market rent. by no means, but we own the
But
building.
we're using the whole bank for a prosecutor?
So the bank's gonna serve 2 to 3 purposes. We needed storage. It has a huge basement. That basement's gonna be used for storage. The upstairs is probably a little bit bigger than the prosecutor needs. But they project growth. If we look at the numbers 20 years from now, the numbers that the county's gonna grow to, she still should have plenty of room. Be close.
But is that building gonna generate that much money in return? Or is it just gonna be a liability?
It's not a liability. Prosecutors brings in funds. She's,
About 100,000 a year.
yeah,
But she'll still bring that out of a rented building.
the rented building had a lot of issues. They discovered some things in it that wasn't healthy.
You wouldn't have rented the building for the price we was getting it, you wouldn't
Yeah.
rent us a building for the price we needed.
I mean, Adam, I will tell you this, I talked to 4 different banks. Trying to get them to put a bank in Martin County, and the best we got was one that's willing to put an ATM in.
Maybe.
And we think that, Manny. We
Yeah.
really do.
And it's
Big
just,
gamble for
the,
them.
the money's not there, there's 2 people that got employed. I mean, we offered to divide the back half out, cause there's a back entry.
So that was after we had bought it.
After we bought it.
We talked to
So
somebody.
had we not spent the money, somebody else could have moved in there and put a business in,
Maybe,
which would have generated income.
but then we still need more room for other things. So we would have been forced to build it, it would cost us a whole lot more than $380,000 to build that building, you know that.
Well, we're not gonna build that building, we'll build a building.
So most people want to add another layer to the courthouse, which would have cost $2 to $4 million.
But there again, if you don't have the money, you don't spend it. If I don't have the money, I don't put up a building.
You still have to provide your services to the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do it in a conservative manner where you're not
But if you,
overspending.
if you wanna build up a building, you borrow the money, the county isn't wanting to do that.
Well, I generate enough funds where I don't have to build a building. Or borrow the money.
But the
I save until I can pay cash.
That's a hard thing to do in a county.
yes.
The government can't save that, they gotta spend it.
With 10,000 people and limited revenue from industry, it's very tough to do. Very, very tough to do.
That's why you guys are elected, make
And,
sure we can do it.
On top of everything else, the state, all the other stuff the state does, the state keeps telling Michelle how much more stuff she's got. Every office in there that they was talking about more people. It's not because the county grew, it's because the state requires them to do so many more things with everything that happens. That's why there's more people. It's not because,
But I think most of the people agree in here, every time there's a meeting, taxes go up.
I wouldn't
But
say
there's-
that. It may seem that, because it's brought to your attention, we're having a meeting
Yeah.
about that.
And
But we have a
I read
meeting
the
every
paper-
month.
I read the paper where every time there's a meeting, we're spending, 100,000 here on something that we may not have needed it. We can hold off buying some stuff.
I don't know when the last time it went up, but I know that I'm the last man standing that was there when it went up the last time.
I was there too.
Adam, you're talking about what it takes, go back to the housing side of things, and we got those 41 lots eventually be. It's good to have them, but it's also gonna put a big burden on the city of Ladoga, because the lift station it feeds into can't handle it, so we gotta spend within the next few years. Right now, the price is about $650,000 for a new lift station. It's gonna take a couple of years to get there, and maybe 14 sooner, depending on how that grows, so growth also costs a municipality or a county a lot more because of infrastructure too, and it's a fine line to play.
I agree.
And that's something though, when you can't, we won't have a choice of whether we can do it now or later, we have to do it. Because otherwise, we'll have stuff where it doesn't need to be going.
Yeah.
And we'll be out of compliance, and when I then get involved, then it's a complete different ball of wax. But I appreciate your concerns and everything, and I sympathize with everybody, but it's tough being in elected officials too.
no matter what capacity it is. But, and it's tough to run a county or a city like a business, because like the comment was made, when you got your budget, you need a budget. You don't spend it, you lose it next year. They force you to spend money. Or you don't, or they're gonna come back and touch it.
But that, we let Kroger go. They left. JC, we got another second empty JC building now. Are we doing anything to fill those? We got the old empty JC building, now we got the new empty JC building.
First one, is that the one behind the gas station?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's owned by Joneses. They use that for storage.
No,
Yeah.
If it's the same building I'm thinking of.
It's under contract.
No,
The new,
We lost that when we lost the hardware store. But it was under contract, but that's also. You gotta spend local,
yeah, I mean,
that's what's taking out these bids.
the Dollar General probably stuck the dagger in the JC store.
No. No.
It couldn't have helped.
but we got two nice empty buildings now that.
We did.
Used to have businesses that.
We have
don't.
four nice. Takes a lot of money to run a business. Gotta start buying new freezers and new equipment. You gotta have a lot of volume.
Adam, I think the key to this is, we're working on, I think the county's working on the alliance, the redevelopment commission, is the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan says where the county's going in the next 10, 15, 20 years. We start showing people what we're gonna be doing, they'll start investing more into this county. So that's the first step, that comes out probably at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Once it all gets finished, but that's the first step. And then we can tell people not only in the state, in our county, but other people that may want to come back in here and invest in our county. But we have to have a plan, and that's a comprehensive.
Right, and that's what I wanna see, if the council doing something to bring money in, instead of just.
Well, that plan will help generate that, hopefully that interest and that type of stuff, so that's the first step. And to tell you the truth, you have to have that before you can even ask for most of the grants in any day.
Yeah, but it seems like every time we turn around, they're paying more and more in taxes, and I don't see anything from it. I live on one of the worst roads in the county. Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon, our road's worse.
I've been working on having my road fixed for 12 years.
We
We
just
got
find
out 2 shovels of asphalt.
we just find
Patched a
it.
half a hole.
One
And
thing,
then yesterday, a few days ago, came out and trimmed all the trees and left them all in the middle of the road and drove off. And then when all the done all the logging, tore all the roads up 3 years in a row. They never had a weight limit, nothing. And I asked them to fix the road, they laughed. I had doctor's excuses for the gravel road, I can't breathe the air, but they laughed.
Is USG doing
But
anything
hey,
to?
you guys are a business, why don't you have a layoff? Take some of your salaries instead of ours. We'll trade you.
Yeah.
Huh? How many county employees you got? Oh, I don't know, huh?
About 119 total, probably 70 are full-time.
So what's that all count to?
Oh,
You have layoffs or, you guys get raises every year, don't you? Well, I've never seen you get denied one.
one thing that needs to be taken,
We're gonna get in our pocket, when you get yours.
looking at raising taxes and everything. Don't look past the fact that most of the people in shows, or a large portion, are older. They have a lesser income, so water bills, electric bills, taxes, they won't be able to afford to live there. And that is a large portion of what is in these small communities. And so every move that you try to make to advance it, keep those people in mind too. Don't crowd them out.
Are we doing anything with USG to get them to fix the road they're destroying?
That's not the council.
Yeah, you're confusing us with the commissioners.
Well, and, you guys are, I'm at the council meeting, so.
Well,
Yeah, that's the wrong choice. for
Yeah,
The council
we-
then.
They don't listen to us. They do it, those three do what they do. Cause,
USD does pay a lot of taxes.
They got a good abatement to
The one hadn't started yet.
Cause they've destroyed my road.
Yeah.
More than as bad as what it was.
They got a new abatement for that mine, but it has.
it. Hogan's right in there, that no AI equipment can be bought.
It hadn't started yet.
Wait, oh, I
Who holds these countries accountable for tearing up the roads? I mean, who does that?
That's the commissioner's plan.
yeah,
County commissioner.
all we do is control the budget. That's all we have control over. We can't. Like Scott don't work for us not to call you out, Scott. Scott don't work for us. Michelle don't work for us.
You can work for
Commissioners. Commissioners have all the say so on the roads. We have no controls or I'm sorry, I'd fix your road. I don't have control. I can't tell Scott what to do tomorrow.
What I think I'm sharing, clerk of the last couple of months from LTAP, is that the community crossing, and I know a few of you are pretty in, have been in the knowledge about community crossing. And it's been 2 draws the past year, that's gonna go down to 1. So again, that's at competition, that's gonna be less. But another thing also, as far as the funding that comes in, if you decide to move forward with this, BMD, you renew, your plates expire on the 7th, 7, 14, 21st, and 20th. That's how people's plates. It's my understanding that on the 21st of each month, the state will cut a check to the auditor. So money will be coming in monthly. So it's not like the community crossings where you've got to wait to get the grant, submit. There will be funds coming in. So if the highway department has a kitty built up as the council, the council talking here, got something that would be able to talk to them. So it is funds that comes in. It's not something you have to wait that year off. That would be a monthly fund that comes in. Anyone else?
Wind it up.
What's that?
Said wind it up.
We're gonna do it anyway. They can't just all chip in a few bucks and stuff you guys to Vegas.
I don't gamble.
Going with this with the states again, look, they guarantee you're gonna get it back. Ain't Vegas probably got better off.
Well, we know we'll get community crossing. Or that, this we'll get back. Community crossings is a gamble.
That's what I give back, the lane mile money we get back.
You talk about community crossings, when you look at what the money is, figured it out there, the city of Indianapolis, without really qualifying, how you wanna say it, they get $50 million, now they do have to match, so. You got a certain amount set for cities and towns, but Indianapolis as a whole gets $50 million out of that pot. I asked that question a week and a half when I was up at the Indiana Conference of Mayors, I'm like, how is that? I said, that's your legislative. That's what you're dealing with here.
They need those roads around that big road thunder because it's a large fire area.
That all? Well, thank you for your participation.
Thank you for all.
Now, remember to talk to your legislators.
And the government. I'm doing that. I'm making no mistake from that.
No, we got. Anything counts.
No. I will tell you what, I'm glad Sean.
Hey, guys, get down, real quick.
Still gotta have her.
You're unmuted.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we need, go ahead.
Yeah.
Excuse me? Okay, we need to know on the record that the public hearing concluded at 8 p.m. No other member of the public had anything else to say. Now Warren needs to call to order a special session of the county council.
We'll start the special session of the council to discuss these two. Okay,
I'll start with Liz.
yeah,
Doesn't matter.
sure.
I'll make the motion that we change the lit tax from 1.2 from on the redevelopment side to 1.0 and move 0.2 to the EMS tax.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
You
Unanimous.
need, for the record, you need to enunciate who voted and how.
Monty Gregory, aye. 4.
Jordan Berry, aye, 4.
Jim Woody, aye, 4.
Jim Hamby, aye, 4.
Gary Bowling, I-4.
Harold Montgomery, I-4.
Warren Albright, aye, 4. Unanimous vote. Okay, so next is the excise and the wheel tax.
May I speak one?
Yes,
And again, those classes that it was broken down into, the council can change those rates on each particular item of the class. Doesn't have to just be $40 and $80 on each one, so it's at the pleasure of the council.
okay, thank you. Thanks, David.
If this is passed, I would require it being on a separate line item.
Fund?
Yeah,
Separate
I agree.
Yeah, Dave, we looked at that, well, in between, and yeah, it is written like that, but
Okay.
2 separate funds.
If passed. I feel that you can keep track of it better that way.
Mhm.
So any thoughts on the various rates?
Now that I know that the veterans can go to the courthouse and get a reduction in that and
Well, only if they don't have it on the property. Most people have it on their property.
don't have.
Like, you've been losing out then for maybe years.
Not that bad. I didn't feel the need to do it, so.
Michelle, on the data, there was nothing on collector vehicles or mini trucks that was given to you?
Let me make sure.
I will speak to that. The information that gave you on that example sheet, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles did not provide that for 2023, so I have nothing to base that on, so.
I have a question about that. Is the veterans tax? Is that only for disabled veterans for the property tax? Or is that all veterans? I think it's disabled.
You probably know, yeah, sorry, there is. I think you're right, it's either one or. So yeah, I'll look into that, and now they can call the auditor's office and. We can get them that.
This should make a difference. And if you're gonna be thinking about all veterans in the county. That would be something you would need to advise here, I would think.
They never said anything about carving out
specific people.
Well, they're not carved out for much.
I agree.
Warren?
Yes.
And I've been through the statute and I gotta make it very clear, there is nothing in the statute that provides any relief for any class of people, any veterans. I mean, I'm talking the wheel tax, the excise surcharge tax statutes. There's nothing provided for any carve out for any relief for anybody like that, so. I have to differ with Bobby, what she was talking about on that, and I can't recommend to the council that they not follow the statute if they do this,
I don't know how accurate some of these numbers are, because Shoals has got 10 school buses.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Cody's got,
Yeah, but no,
because it's got down one bus. Yeah. And that's me and everybody else got 3.
I don't think it's for the school bus.
school buses are specifically exempt.
no,
Only
Not if they're-
corporation buses is what they told
If they're
us.
privately owned.
if they're privately owned,
Yeah,
we checked on that.
Let me dig.
the B&B told us otherwise, but that would make more sense with this. Because all of the contractors own their own buses.
So Warren, your bus would be, for example, your bus would be taxed,
They
but
don't-
none of the school.
None of the schools,
Buses would be.
if they license it, they don't pay tax. Even though my contract says I can't haul you to Bedford to pick up a bag of groceries and for nothing. I can't go. But technically it says I can't even stop at the JC store and pick up groceries and haul it home. Because I wouldn't, and I'm paying taxes, I'm paying property taxes when the property taxes on it. And the law says that I can't stop at the grocery store or gas station and buy something for me and haul it home. Yeah, I pay taxes on it.
Warren, the county wheel tax, it says here, the county wheel tax act is exempt. A vehicle exempt from the wheel tax if it is owned by the state of Indiana or agency or political subdivision. So that would mean if the school owns a bus, it is exempt. A bus owned or operated by a religious or a nonprofit youth organization or used to haul persons to religious services. Or a school bus. So I interpret that
Is exempt.
as exempt.
I believe they are, but.
Okay, yeah, Michelle sent a question and their answer back from the smart people, the ones that's running all of this said. That's why we're nervous about some of our,
That's.
yeah,
That's
okay,
That's
That's why that
directly out of the
reads.
statute. So.
thoughts, opinions?
I think we're all hesitant because nobody wants to implement a
I'm not
tax.
hesitant on it, I'm just curious as to what we have written here, if it's gonna sustain for the next 5 to 6 years.
Well, if our population.
I mean, I don't wanna come back to these people in 2 years and say, hey, we made a mistake, we need to raise this up to max level. Just because.
So to add to that, I think that's why it's important that if we implement it, we probably implement at the rates that we have, because the 80 for
This
the
is what we
county.
sat down and figured out.
What's that?
This is what we sat down and figured out.
Yeah,
Because the county wheel tax is 80, so that's your, the semi trailers, the log trucks that, has been mentioned, the ones that are putting the heavy load and the wear and tear on the vehicle or the roads the most is the max. So they're at the max already, that's the 80. We're proposing 40 for the county excise, which is your passenger vehicles, small trucks, so your, half ton, 3/4 ton. Regular trucks going up and down the road, trailers less than 9,000 pounds. That's at 40, so that's the only one that's not at max rate. Cause that's 50, correct?
Yeah.
So if we implement at this, I think we're a little bit more confident that we don't have to do that.
Well, it's kind of a kick in the teeth if we did have to come back and
Correct.
redo it again.
I agree.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
But what happens if that's not enough? You can't go up anymore.
You mean if we are at the max?
Mhm.
I mean,
At least if you're starting a little lower, you'd see how you can manage that money, and then if you have to, raise it. But I understand what you're saying, but I,
difference between chip and sealing and paving.
Yeah.
and the difference between.
have the money to pave, you have to chip.
And with this, the numbers that the state has given us from these values. Based on what we're supposed to get back on these numbers, can keep the budget that we have now. And as the number of vehicles grows in the county, as our population grows, that number will continue to grow with us. So that's where the thought and the hope is that. That's where we'll continue to, continue to grow with it.
thank you.
Yeah, if Lagodi gets 100 more homes, there's probably 200 more cars.
I mean, that's the hope and the thought.
We'll break them into two different motions, since they're two different rates.
Thank you. Put it all in one. All in one motion or two?
Dave, is your recommendation that we do the excise
As
one motion and the wheel tax is another, since they're different rates, or all in one?
Now, the ordinance that I prepared has both.
Okay,
You have to implement
But-
one with the other.
If, you know, if you need to have further discussion on the classes, what you're gonna do on the classes. There's some indication you're reconsidering that, so.
Does anybody want to talk about different numbers?
was. Mr. Guy, he made a valid point. On motorcycles, and I classify mopeds
That's more.
as a motorcycle, cause they're two-wheeled. But the gist of it, if you drop that down to half, you're only talking $8,000 difference. In the end of the year, I know it's each, do you look at it as individually, or do you look at it as a whole number?
We're only looking at 20 mopeds in the whole county.
Yeah, and
That's platable moped.
150cc is not plated. But I would entertain the thought of dropping the motorcycle moped a little lower for the argument that he gave. I never gave that any consideration personally.
What would be your rate? Are you thinking half?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot of money at the end of the day. And the collector vehicles and even the mini trucks, collector vehicles, most of those classic cars aren't driven every day. And a mini truck, I bet there ain't 10 of them in the whole county. So that number don't really come into factor. But, just those classifications, those three classifications, I have doubt with the 40 number. Personally.
I know Adam won't drive some of his out there on his road.
Adam's just one taxpayer.
Yeah, but I'm saying them
Yeah.
he's not out there chewing up the road. It
Yeah.
only gets his tail on the highway.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I don't know, I mean, that's. Those are my thoughts on the excise.
So the collectors too, you're saying.
Yeah, cause I mean, those cars normally aren't driven. On a daily basis.
It's not showing any of them's even played.
Exactly, and that's why I asked Dave earlier if they broke that down, so we don't even know how many we're even talking about. On that classification. But hopefully we get a couple millionaires that move to the county and build big houses and our windfall of people coming in that they have some. Yeah. So. I'd be optimistic.
Across the board. Everyone.
But I mean, that's just my thoughts, but I'll,
say, Jim? I'm for leaving the same across the board.
I don't know if this takes into consideration, but the state now allows permanent trailer plates. So
For
there's all
less
these
than-
car trailers and stuff running around, you guys got $70,000 figured for that.
Yeah, that's gonna go away.
That's, people gonna figure that out, and you're not gonna have that anymore.
that's under 3,500 pounds or less on trailer.
9,000.
No, but to have your trailer permanently plated, it's 3,500 pounds or
But you
less.
can tag your car trailer to 3,500 pounds or less, they allow you.
Just don't wanna get caught.
Put over 3,500 pounds on it.
So
Then the sheriff can make them.
that's right.
Costs me money.
But yes, and that's a valid point, Sheriff. There'll be some of that 70 that could be adjusted over time. But hopefully there'll be enough people move in to counterbalance that.
Or
Yes, sir.
Carol brought up a good point a while ago that people's got the little utility trailers to haul lawnmower on. They can buy a life, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lifetime plate.
yeah, if it's under 35.
You know, if you just charge half, $20 for motorcycles and RVs in Martin County, it would only, you would only lose $13,140.
RVs are under the recreation.
Yeah,
Follow.
and I don't have a motorcycle, I don't have an RV, but I'm saying that might help some people. If they only had to pay $20 instead of 40 every year.
Well, the RV fall. They don't have motorcycle. I mean, if you went half would be 40.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because the RV is the same way, most of them only gets pulled out of somebody's drive once or twice a year.
yeah,
And I don't have an RV, but I can see how that would hurt some people that thought they figured out how to go on vacation and now they're looking at, I'm paying $80, pull this out once.
My thoughts on that, and I know I probably shouldn't even say this, open my big mouth. If you can afford a recreational vehicle, or you can afford a motorcycle, you're probably gonna have a vehicle to drive. So they probably got the extra money. I mean, I used to have a motorcycle, I used to have an RV boat, but I don't now, that those people must have had the money or they couldn't have bought a car and a motorcycle and a recreational vehicle. What you have to pay price on those now. That's just my thought.
I think I'm with Jim, this thing the way it is.
Quick
Yes.
question, and maybe you know, Dave, since you got a statute, is there any indexing for inflation on these, so if you say, okay, I'm gonna put $40 on the car today, it's gonna be $40 10 years from now?
Correct.
wait a minute. There may be something to that, Paul. We're some not very organized here.
Percentage, wasn't
On the surtax. Surtax by statute is based upon classification and age of the vehicle as determined by the BMV. And it goes from age,
0 to age 9 on each.
I think that part was only on the percentage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that, since we're doing a flat rate, that doesn't apply.
But I also believe that that's why the collector vehicles are not on here,
Well,
because of the age.
the statute he's reading was if we went,
Okay,
if we went, we could also have went percentage of vehicle. So some people pay $100 and some dollars and some people pay.
We didn't want somebody to have to pay $100 like their vehicle.
right.
I mean, if you bought a brand new 2026 Chevrolet pickup, you're gonna pay $65,000 to $80,000 for it. It would be more than $100.
It was over $200.
Yeah, it was like 260.
But it's not tearing up the roads any more than,
But it would have depreciated out over time. Down to the minimum of $25, I think was the minimum at that rate.
Yeah, it
I
followed
think
down.
so.
So that's why we decided to go with
So that
a
was
flat
only-
rate instead of.
So what I'm saying, $40, I mean, to any of us that we pay per vehicle this year would be $40, so I don't have for something else. But it's a night out with my wife or
I was
whatever.
gonna say,
But-
most
but
of us spent it that last week eating out.
Right, but in 10 years from now, that $40 is gonna look a lot less significant
Right.
than what it is today.
As of right now, for the statute and the way that it's worded right now, it would continue at the rate that we're passing now until that would change at a higher level.
But wouldn't the legislature have to change the maximum that you could levy?
Correct.
Correct.
So unless there was a change at a higher level,
Right.
this rate would stay.
So then the beauty of that is, then you blame the legislature for increasing your wheel tax.
Correct.
Whereas today, you get blamed for enacting.
It'll be our fault somehow, Paul.
Oh, I'm sure.
It will.
Today it will, but what I'm saying is, you can bet on the come, and in fact, that's probably what I would do. Is I would say, okay, I got the legislature has a gun to my head, I have to do this to qualify for the extra money. So I'm gonna make it worthwhile, and then I'm gonna forget about it until the legislature comes back and says, hey, you have to raise this, and then that's somebody else's cross to bear on election day, not yours.
Yeah.
I think that was our thoughts coming into it too. So.
So, a motion. But don't everybody speak up at once.
Everybody's gonna vote yes.
I don't think nobody.
I only heard one recommendation on a change of a category. Is anybody else gonna say any piece on that? Anyone?
I think it would be good to have a lower rate for motorcycles. Classic cars. RVs.
I mean. I see it both ways.
I don't know, so. You know, they paying it, so. I'm just trying to look out for the county.
Do you have a recommendation, Gerald?
Would you do the half? Drop it in half
Yes,
for those categories?
yes,
Are you including mopeds in that?
Yeah,
that's motorcycle.
well, it's a separate category. We're calling,
Mopeds are separate category.
we're calling it the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that, but the mopeds that qualifies here are bigger than a 450cc because they're platable. And so, in essence, where you call them moped or a scooter or whatever, they're still motorcycle.
I mean, those two, cut those in half. I mean, I know Scott would spend the money, but it's,
Minimal.
I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
$20,000, give or take. At the end of the day, but it's the relief that we might give the taxpayer. It's gonna hate us regardlessly.
I'm not in favor of that.
you see it as just keep it consistent for everybody?
That's all.
That's why, I mean, I see.
And he
both
has a
ways.
motorcycle.
And I got a motorcycle, and a electric vehicle. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. That the county excise served wheel tax as presented at $40 stays the same. The county wheel tax is at $80 as presented.
I'll second. All in favor?
I mean, do we do the same things we did? You're saying it's
State
our name, I for,
Yeah, it needs to be take roll.
Jordan Berry, I for.
Jim Woody, I-4.
Lonnie Gregory, I-4.
Jim Hamby, I-4.
Sherry Bowling, I-4.
Cameron. Nash.
Warren O'Brien, aye.
6-1. 4.
I thought it was.
That's all but Simon.
No, Joe, you voted nay, so that's a recommend you put nay above your name here, okay? So,
A motion to adjourn.
well, let's get this signed, and Michelle needs to get that other one signed too.
Well, I got it.
Are they both in there, or you got separate?
I just wish we'd get the out of county semi.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, I'm not familiar with the bond thing, but it should be looked into.
If to make it feel better, there is also provisions, you can do away with this tax.
Yeah.
What do you say, there's provision one?
You can do away with this tax,
Oh,
you can raise it or you can do away with it.
when the state gives us a bunch of extra money, we can do that.
Well, sure.
Tell yourself that, Sherry.
Yeah. I mean, I think our hands are tied. I mean, when it comes down to it, we're not gonna get any money for our highways and our roads. We don't do it. We don't have a choice.
As I've studied footage and talked to everybody, that's exactly what the legislature did, so they're doing it, they're making them do it. Because they're cutting the community crossings from 250 to 100. And then they're instituting the laneage, the lane miles. And that's gonna be 150 to 175 million, but you gotta have the wheel tax to be eligible for that, so.
Exactly.
Plus,
I don't think
as
we have a
Brian
choice.
said, they're taking care of Indianapolis with that 50 million, so.
I don't think anybody here wants to do it. But I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah. That does.
You know, if not, won't matter.
Remember to put the nay on the one.
Yeah, well.
But wasn't the community crossings grant gonna leave on the excise on their plates and this will go in its place? Is that right, Dave? I'm sorry. That on, Sean Scott, the gentleman from Crawford County, he was talking about your registration and on it that where the community crossings grant money is now. We're basically not flipping those numbers, but that number will go almost away and ours will be on there.
No, they're still collecting that. They're just.
But that rate will go down, will it not? If they're collecting less.
They got it right down.
It's just the fact that if we
My
don't add
question is, I
ours.
believe everybody pays a flat $15 on every plate. And that goes to the community crossings grant.
Right.
So we keep paying that, but yet they're gonna decrease the community crossings grant fund. Does that mean that we don't have to pay as much now? Can we get by with $5 instead of 15?
You guys spend a lot more, build it, we really know.
That's what I was wondering, is that money going to the mid-state corridor?
Once it's there, you know, it'll keep you.
I know.
They're not gonna control that.
And on motion to adjourn. I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we got it. Oh.